All right, we're good.
You could submit your album to anyone, right? So it kind of makes me just question, is it too easy?
Right.
Is it too easy now? Are we in are we in a point in civilization where things are too easy to gang, record it, add some delays and effects, make it sound really rad, send it in, go play a show and just have it be a train wreck because your recording skills were epic but your actual playing wasn't very good, but you submitted it to the right person or had the right connection or something? Because I've made the mistake of booking bands based on their recordings in the past and been like, whoops. Because the recordings are really easy to fake.
They sound amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
You can do things in a recording, even like any type of over-tracking or effects processing on a recording and not get that. But I predict Portland will see a lot more diverse sound. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a shrinking of the stoner doom scene as far as traditional stoner doom, and we're seeing specific bands pop out of that. And I think maybe some bands are, realizing, well, I'm either doing this because I love doing it and I'm not looking to get anywhere, or if I'm really trying to get somewhere, I'm going to have to, as you said, diversify my approach a little bit because you can't just be samey or do the same thing. And right now I think there's a lot of bands that actually came directly out of the stoner doom scene that are not stoner doom. Right. Maybe they're stoner, but they're not doomy, and they're a little more like punky or almost mathy in a way, or just more punky and energetic and aggressive. They're not even like more metal necessarily, but it's more experimental and in a way Yob-y, because Yob's pretty aggressive like that, who are just incredible. I think they're great. They're great bands, and they're totally popping right now, and I think that's kind of what we're going to see in Portland, is because it's so saturated and there's so many venues and everyone's so music oriented and a lot of people, like Sabine said, come here to play music. We're going to see not only new people coming in and stuff like that, but we're going to see people coming out of the old genres, the old little cliques of genre, and making new bands that are actually what they really want to play, instead of playing what they think is good for them to play
because it's popular,
or because or get them in the thing they think they'll get them where they think they want to be. They're like, fuck that, I don't want to do things anymore because I think they're going to get me somewhere. I want to do things because they make me feel good right now. And I notice when people do that, they're way more successful. When people are doing things that make them feel good right now, as opposed to things that they think will help them succeed 2 years down the road, or a year, or 6 months, they're happier and they're more successful quicker. That's what I see. So the people who work the hardest for their bands get the least result usually, and the people who work the least for their bands and they're just like, I don't know, I'm making dinner tonight with my friends and going down to play some drums. I'm having so much fun with these guys, and everyone's just like having fun, and they're doing music that you wouldn't suspect. At first, maybe you hear it and you're like, huh, that's not what I anticipated hearing from them at this Stoner Doom show, because they happened to be on that bill or whatever, or they were members of some other bands you knew, because we know people. But they show up in their band, and after a minute you're like, wow, this is better. This is good. This is fresh.
What do you think about
fresh. This is new. This is alive. It's not retro. It's not proto. It's not aping anyone. It's not like I'm pulling out influences that are non-traditional heavy rock influences in a way, more obscure, almost proggy, weird, strange references, and it's in there. It's pretty neat to hear that emerge.
New.
And I'm hoping that will happen. I think we're going to get an influx of traditional people. I think we're going to get people moving here for what happened 5 years ago. It takes people 5 years to figure that out. Like, it happened here in 2012, so in 2017 we're going to see those people showing up here going, what's going on from 2012? And we're like, we don't know, that's over, it's 2017 now. And they're like, shit, it took me 5 years to get here. And we're like, you should have been here 5 years ago, dude. And then you stay here for 5 years or a couple years, and then people show up and they're like, what's going on? And you're like, oh, that was I showed up when that happened when I showed up, but now it's this, and it changes real quick.
It does.
And there's like and I think that's it's a good thing, because it takes the bands a while to mature before they pop.
Well, also we've seen a lot of new bands come into the scene, but then the staying power isn't there, that they're there for 6 months, maybe a year, and then they're gone. So I think a lot of that would happen too, in regards to,
especially with the new influx of people.
The growing of the music scene.
And we actually had the safety of like a small Facebook pool of friends. It wasn't as international, and Craigslist was very, very strong about the internet was like a really easy way. Now I think it's gotten complicated. There's so much. There's so much going on, and before it was really easy. There were fewer people. Really, it was less active.
Yeah.
It was easier to
To connect.
Yeah. And stay in connection because there was less people. I also think what you were saying about the bands and the staying power, we see a lot of, in the time we've been here, in the 6 to 8 years, aside from people we knew before, before 2012, all the musicians that we know from 2012 on, out of them, regardless of what band they're in, we see that there's a staying power among certain musicians.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That certain musicians, even if their band doesn't work out, they keep going and they get into another band right away with some of the same people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's these pools of people that reform bands. In the thrash metal scene here, it's really strong. Those bands have stayed together for a long time and stayed together for a long time. In the stoner doom scene, you still have your old strong bands that stay together and some other ones that, local bands that stay together. But anything that didn't work out,
but a lot of people hop and jump.
Those guys hop and jump around a little bit within their thing and come up with some really creative, inventive, interesting music. Mm-hmm. So that's, I think, the strongest thing in Portland is that the musicians who do live here and make this their home are going to keep making music.
Individuals.
Yeah, they're going to keep making music regardless. And I think they're starting to learn, like, that's exactly the same people that I'm saying are starting to learn. And instead of playing in a band that I think is what I want to do, for some reason, they're really starting to learn themselves and understand themselves as musicians, and they just want to do things that make them happy as musicians or are fun to do. And they have more fun with it.
What type of advice would you give these younger musicians, coming up in the scene? Like, what would you tell them? Like, the most important thing to, I don't know, be successful? I don't know whether that has to do with money or just happiness, but...
For me, personally, I would always say, do it because you love it, Do it because you love it, because then you'll just keep going. You'll just keep playing. Get out of town.
Get out of town. Don't play too
Tour
much. Don't overbook in town.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take criticism well. Create relationships like I said, online. Create relationships online.
Yeah.
Some of the best things you can do is look online at there are people giving out advice now or selling advice now even that you can get as to how to best handle your band. And from what I understand, it's mostly about creating relationships with people online and using your promotional tools to the best way you can, which in my personal opinion is don't over promote, but promote wisely. Make it fun.
Yeah.
You want to get people interacting.
Make it relevant.
You want to get people interacting. You want to be fun, and you don't want to. I think also you don't want to manipulate because it's obvious to most people. You don't want to manipulate them. You want to be honest in the way you interact. So if it's not authentic, find someone in your band who is authentic online to do that and have them do it. Because creating relationships with fans, bands, bookers, promoters is probably the biggest part of your. It's like, who you know. It's a big part of it is who you know. So create relationships and maintain them, and don't set up your drums on stage.
No what?
Stage them off stage, things like that. Little things for beginning bands is learn from more established bands, kind of band basic 101 stuff.
Yeah.
Like when you show up, ask questions. Don't tell other people what you're going to do with your band. Let the venues and the bookers kind of let you know. This is what's going to happen. Don't be too eager to
Don't be
get
rude.
your spot. Yeah, be cool, be chill, be humble, because a lot of people have worked really hard. So for new bands, I know you're excited and you're eager and you're interested, but there's bands that have been around for a long time and they're going to take the whole walk down the hill approach, where they're like, we've been doing this a lot, so we're not going to run down the hill. We're going to walk slowly because we know what's going to happen already. We know we're going to go play the show. It's going to take time.
Plus, you're just another band. You're just
basic stuff like that is like when you show up to a show, put your shit to the side, make a small footprint, stay out of the way, get your shit on stage quick and off. And one faux pas is sitting on stage and taking down your cymbals. Takes a long time. Just take them off the stage. Get your whole kit off the fucking stage. Everyone's standing around. The next band and the sound man are standing around going, get your fucking shit off the fucking stage. You can talk to your fucking friend after. Basically, that's what they're saying in the back of their head because they want a 15-minute turnover because there's other bands to fucking go and shit, man. They're like, I'm working here, man. It's not your fucking show. Get off the fucking stage. So, humility. Listen.
Yeah.
Create relationships. Don't skimp on your recording. If you think you can do it in your basement and you can record it, great. It's probably going to sound like you recorded it in your basement. So be aware that some people are going to, maybe that might affect you. You know, when you look down the line at your recordings and you put them out and you look at the response you get, I can only say that the more time and money you invest into your recordings and the higher quality you invest in mixing and everything and make wise choices about mastering, you'll get a better response for your recording. I think having a good recording is really important.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be the most expensive. It can be frugal, but it doesn't have to be, on your 4-track. I don't think that's wise. I don't think it's gonna, unless you have magic fingers or something.
Right.
Take care of your gear.
Promotion could go either way. Like, I think if you just play and you get yourself out there by playing, a lot of promotion comes by itself because people will see you and they will promote you. So, that's kind of where the over promotion thing, I don't think is necessarily a plus for everyone.
I just think there's a way to do it. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
You can go online. You can get a lot of tips about how to promote. So it's not like, yeah, we know you have a show. I'm going to see it 17 million times, dude, every day. Or
your last
the
10
other
posts
thing is,
were about that show.
a really smart thing, and this is kind of partial manipulation, I guess, in a weird way, but if you have a show booked if you have your shows booked for the next 4 or 5 months, and there's a show coming up in 3 months away, but you have a show a month away, really promoting your show 3 months away, or anyone on that bill promoting it, isn't helping anyone on that bill the first month away. And that goes into my overbooking thing, because if I see that you have 2 shows, and one's a month away and one's 3 months away, and I'm like, I really want to see these guys, but that first date's really inconvenient, I'll just wait for the next one. You've just lost me at the first one. But if you didn't tell me about the one later, I might be like, I really want to see these guys, let's go. And then I might go and be like, I was so blown away by them and the other bands that I saw that night. So all those other bands benefit as well, and the venue, and everyone benefits by that. And then they might go see your other show the next time anyway, because it was so good, and then all those bands benefit. But the other way, you might get me going, oh, look, they're playing like 7 times for the next 6 months. We can just pick and choose which one we want to go see. Mm-hmm. So smart promotion is promote one show at a time, unless it's out of town, and don't over-promote your bookings. And you can be really safe by not booking anything within 30 days of another show. I'd say really the smart money is 30 days apart on any shows within the same city.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get away with 2 weeks apart if you're smart and you know what you're doing and you know the bands you're playing with and you know where you're playing and you know why you're doing it. But if you do it consecutively, like 2, and we know because we've done these things and we've been told not to, and all different things. Yeah. We've learned a lot. There's passes. Sometimes you can book a show 2 days apart in town because of the show. Because one show is you headlining with 3 locals on a Friday night, and the other show is at a huge venue with, Metallica, and you're opening. It's like, well, that's probably only, that Metallica show, opening for that big, whatever, established band, Down or whoever, is probably only going to help this show, because people are going to hear about you and go, well, let's go check these guys out. Maybe. But very few people are going to go, well, we're going to see them with Metallica anyway, so let's not go to the local, because you're probably not overlapping your draw on most of those shows. Or those people are going to go to see Metallica, whether you're playing or not. They don't give a shit. So it's like, I think the whole booking over promoting thing is the biggest, aside from like writing good music and having a quality recording and having good gear and shit. I think for regional bands in their own city, don't overbook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And communication is key.
And if you're going to overbook, I shouldn't say don't overbook. I should say don't overbook without communicating to everyone else involved what your plans are before committing to it.
The booker, the venue.
It just saves
it
saves a hassle. It saves communication.
Yeah.
But not everyone does that, and not everyone cares. But I think that's like one of the bigger things for new bands is don't be over eager. Get yourself out there, play as much as you can, get a little bit out of town, but don't over promote your city and saturate, because after a minute, unless you're really good or you're really prolific about writing a lot of new material, people aren't going to come to see you over and over and over again to see you play the same songs.
They'll stop paying attention, yeah.
You'll get your friends, you'll get your coworkers, you'll get all that first and all the other bands, but after a minute, you'll know, you should know I think bands should know by the quality of their audience whether or not they are pursuing the right goal. You know, so don't beat yourself up. Have fun. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Don't scrimp on your recording and your gear. Create
polite.
relationships. That's it. That's kind of like most of the stuff in life, right? Brush your teeth, make your bed, be nice to other people, create good relationships, show up on time, stay out of
Yeah.
people's way. Don't waste your
Be
money on
considerate.
cheap stuff.
Yeah.
Write a song about your mom. No, I didn't. Not really.
Song ideas.
Write a song about my mom.
I think that's
Yeah.
that as far as the interview. I think that's probably it. Unless you have something else you want
I
to
have
add.
nothing else I want to add.
That's it.
There's maybe I guess you could talk about your influences, but the thing's really not going. You know what I mean?
No,
I think with the what you've given me, like all the palette of bands, I think that's probably pretty much covers
Yeah.
an influence, at least on the topic that we're going on. So
Cool.
and
No, I didn't really talk about much at all, or our stuff. More about Portland and the scene and the evolution.
Well, I
of
mean,
the stuff.
I've got your stuff on there.
Yep.
So you can, so that'll be like your promo part, like, hey, you know, we're Disenchanter and we're doing this, so I'll put that in there, and then like when we start talking about certain subjects, we'll clip into this, we'll clip into that, you know. And before
Because you're gonna have other people doing stuff,
Yeah.
and music, and you're gonna do like live video of stuff and